let me ask you something important before we go any further. Have you ever felt that strange tingling in your feet at night, that numbness in your toes, or that burning sensation that seems to come out of nowhere? Many men over 50 brush this off and say, that's just age. But what if I told you there's a very common, everyday poison silently damaging your nerves, and most people have no idea it's happening until the damage is already advanced? I'm Dr. Robert Harrison, and after decades working with older adults, I can tell you this with certainty: neuropathy doesn't usually start suddenly. It creeps in quietly. First it's mild numbness, then balance feels off, then walking becomes harder, then sleep is disturbed, and before long simple daily activities feel exhausting. The most troubling part is that for many men over 50, this nerve damage isn't random. It's being fueled daily by habits that seem harmless on the surface. As men age past 50, the nervous system becomes more vulnerable. Nerve cells don't regenerate as quickly. Blood flow isn't as efficient. Inflammation tends to run higher, even in men who think they're relatively healthy. Add to that years of accumulated stress, medications, dietary shortcuts, and environmental exposure, and you have a nervous system that's operating without much margin for error. Here's what many men don't realize. The nerves in your feet and hands are some of the longest nerves in your body. That makes them especially sensitive to toxins, blood sugar swings, and nutritional imbalances. When something toxic enters your system repeatedly, those long nerves often show damage first. That's why neuropathy usually starts in the feet, not the shoulders or chest. Now, when I say poison, I'm not talking about something exotic or illegal. I'm talking about substances many people consume or encounter regularly, sometimes daily, without a second thought. Over time, these substances interfere with how nerves communicate, how they repair themselves, and how they receive oxygen and nutrients. The result is slow, progressive nerve injury. After 50, men face unique health challenges that make this worse. Muscle mass declines, which reduces glucose control. Sleep quality often drops, which limits nerve repair overnight. Digestive efficiency decreases, making it harder to absorb key nutrients that nerves depend on. On top of that, many men are told to just live with it. When symptoms appear, instead of being shown how to protect their nervous system early, I want to be very clear here. Nerve damage does not have to be an inevitable part of aging. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s stabilize their symptoms and improve daily comfort once the real cause is identified and addressed. But the first step is awareness. You can't protect your nerves if you don't know what's hurting them. Timing matters more than most people think. The nervous system does much of its repair work during rest, especially overnight. What you consume in the evening, how late you eat, how you manage stress before bed, and even the lighting in your environment can influence how well your nerves recover. Many men unknowingly sabotage this recovery window every single night. Lifestyle plays a massive role as well. Long periods of sitting, poor circulation, dehydration, and inconsistent meals all add stress to already vulnerable nerves. Combine that with exposure to a harmful substance day after day, and it creates the perfect storm for neuropathy to develop or worsen. In this video, I want to walk you through what this worst poison actually is, why it targets nerves so aggressively, and why men over 50 are especially at risk. More importantly, I want to show you how small, realistic changes in timing and daily habits can dramatically reduce nerve stress and help protect what you still have. This is not about fear. It's about understanding. Once you know what to avoid and how to support your nervous system properly, you regain a sense of control over your health. And that sense of control is something every man deserves, no matter his age. In the next part, I'll explain exactly what this common poison is, where it hides in everyday life, and why so many doctors overlook its role in nerve damage. Now let's talk about what this poison actually is, because this is where most people are surprised. It isn't something rare. It isn't something you'd expect to see labeled as dangerous. In fact, many men are exposed to it every single day, often starting in midlife, sometimes even earlier, without ever being warned about its long-term effects on the nervous system. This poison works quietly. It doesn't cause sharp pain right away. It doesn't make you feel sick the moment you're exposed. Instead, it interferes with nerve signaling little by little. It disrupts how nerves communicate with the brain, how they receive nutrients, and how they repair microscopic damage that happens naturally with age. Over time, those small disruptions add up. One reason this is so dangerous for men over 50 is that nerve resilience declines with age. When you're younger, your body can compensate. Nerves bounce back faster. Blood vessels respond more efficiently. After 50, that buffer is thinner. So when this toxin shows up repeatedly, the damage becomes noticeable much sooner. Another issue is that this substance often affects circulation at the same time it affects nerves. Nerves need steady blood flow to function properly. When circulation is reduced even slightly, nerves become starved of oxygen. That's when tingling, numbness, and burning sensations begin. Many men are told this is just circulation, but in reality, circulation and nerve damage are deeply connected. What makes this habit especially harmful is the timing. Many men consume or encounter this poison later in the day or evening. That's the worst possible time. Evening and nighttime are when your nervous system should be repairing itself. When this toxin is present during that window, repair slows down or stops altogether. The next morning, nerves wake up irritated instead of restored. I often hear men say, "But I've been doing this for years." And that's exactly the point. Neuropathy doesn't usually come from a single exposure. It comes from repetition, daily exposure, weekly exposure, year after year. The body keeps score, even when symptoms aren't obvious at first. There's also a mental component that doesn't get enough attention. Chronic exposure to nerve toxins can affect focus, reaction time, and balance. Men may notice they trip more often, feel unsteady in the shower, or hesitate on stairs. These aren't just muscle issues. They're early signs that nerve signals are being delayed or distorted. Lifestyle choices can either amplify or reduce the damage. Poor sleep magnifies nerve irritation. Dehydration thickens the blood and slows circulation. Long periods of sitting compress nerves and limit blood flow. When these factors combine with this toxic habit, symptoms progress much faster. The good news is that nerves are responsive when the environment improves. When exposure is reduced, when circulation improves, when sleep becomes deeper and more consistent, nerves can calm down. They may not fully regenerate in every case, but they can often function better than expected. In my practice, I've seen men make simple timing adjustments and experience noticeable relief within weeks. Not miracles, not overnight cures, but steadier feet, warmer toes, better sleep, and less nighttime discomfort. Those changes start with understanding what's doing the harm and why your body reacts the way it does after 50. In the next part, I'm going to explain why this poison is so common in modern life, how it slips past medical conversations, and what warning signs men should never ignore if they want to protect their nerves long term. One of the reasons this poison continues to damage so many nerves is because it's become normalized. It's woven into daily routines, recommended casually and rarely questioned. Men are often told it's harmless in moderation or that its effects are limited to the stomach, the liver, or short-term comfort. Very few conversations focus on what it does to nerve tissue over time. After 50, the body processes substances differently. The liver clears toxins more slowly. The kidneys don't filter as efficiently. Blood flow to the extremities becomes less robust. When this poison enters the system under those conditions, it lingers longer and reaches nerves more easily. That prolonged exposure is what accelerates damage. Many men also take medications that interact poorly with this substance. These combinations can increase nerve sensitivity, reduce vitamin absorption, and heighten inflammation. The nervous system ends up under constant low-grade attack, even though no single symptom feels dramatic enough to raise alarm. Sleep disruption is another major factor. This poison interferes with deep sleep cycles, even when a person thinks they're sleeping fine. The brain may shut down, but nerve repair doesn't fully engage. Over weeks and months, that lost repair time accumulates. Men wake up feeling stiff, unsteady, or numb without realizing the connection. There's also the issue of blood sugar stability. This substance can cause swings that place extra stress on nerves, especially in the feet and lower legs. Even men without diagnosed blood sugar problems can experience subtle fluctuations that injure nerve endings. These injuries may be small, but repeated daily, they become significant. Men often ignore early warning signs: cold feet, reduced sensation, a feeling like socks are bunched up when they're not, mild burning at night. These signals are easy to dismiss, but they're important messages from the nervous system. They're telling you something in your daily routine is no longer compatible with your body's needs. Timing adjustments can make a meaningful difference here. Avoiding exposure later in the day gives nerves a chance to calm down overnight. Supporting circulation in the evening with gentle movement helps flush irritants away from nerve tissue. Even small changes, like spacing meals properly and staying hydrated, reduce nerve stress. Lifestyle habits matter more after 50 because recovery windows are shorter. The nervous system doesn't have unlimited repair capacity. Every choice either supports repair or interferes with it. That doesn't mean life has to be restrictive. It means it has to be intentional. I often remind men that nerve health isn't about chasing perfection. It's about removing the biggest obstacles first. Once the most damaging habit is addressed, the body often responds better than expected. Balance improves. Discomfort becomes less intense. Sleep feels deeper. Confidence returns. In the next part, I'll walk you through practical, realistic steps men can take to reduce nerve damage starting today, including how to adjust daily timing, improve circulation safely, and support nerve repair without drastic changes. At this point, the most important thing to understand is that protecting your nerves doesn't require extreme measures. It requires consistency and awareness. Many men assume they need complicated routines or expensive solutions, but in reality, the nervous system responds best to simple, repeatable habits done at the right time of day. One of the first changes I encourage men over 50 to make is paying attention to evenings. This is when nerve repair should be happening. Keeping evenings calm, reducing stimulation, and allowing the body to wind down naturally can make a noticeable difference. When the nervous system isn't constantly being irritated late in the day, it has a chance to restore balance overnight. Movement also plays a key role, especially gentle movement. Long periods of sitting reduce blood flow to the legs and feet, where neuropathy usually begins. Short bouts of easy movement during the day and light activity in the early evening help circulate oxygen and nutrients to nerve tissue. This doesn't need to be strenuous. Consistency matters more than intensity. Hydration is another factor many men underestimate. Dehydration thickens the blood and slows circulation, making it harder for nerves to receive what they need. As men age, the sensation of thirst becomes less reliable, so drinking regularly throughout the day is important. Proper hydration supports nerve signaling and reduces irritation. Nutrition timing matters too. Heavy meals late in the evening can interfere with sleep and blood sugar stability, both of which stress nerves. Allowing enough time between your last meal and bedtime helps the nervous system shift into repair mode. Balanced meals earlier in the day provide steady energy without overloading the system at night. Stress management is often overlooked, but chronic stress keeps the nervous system in a constant alert state. Over time, this increases inflammation and worsens nerve symptoms. Simple practices like slowing your breathing, spending time outdoors, or limiting evening news can reduce nerve tension more than most people expect. Foot care and awareness are also important. Paying attention to temperature, sensation, and comfort helps catch changes early. Warmth improves circulation. Proper footwear reduces pressure on sensitive nerves. Small adjustments here can prevent worsening symptoms down the road. The goal isn't to eliminate every possible risk. The goal is to give your nerves a better environment to function in. When you remove repeated irritation and support circulation and rest, nerves often settle down. Men frequently report less nighttime discomfort, steadier walking, and improved confidence in daily movement. In the final part, I'll bring everything together, explain what long-term nerve protection looks like after 50, and share how men can maintain progress without feeling overwhelmed or restricted. As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with something practical and encouraging. Nerve health after 50 is not about fear. It's about awareness. When you understand what quietly harms your nerves and why your body responds differently with age, you gain control again. And control is what leads to confidence. The nervous system is remarkably responsive when it's given the right conditions. Even after years of irritation, nerves can calm down when the source of stress is removed and daily habits support repair. That's why timing, consistency, and lifestyle choices matter more than quick fixes. Think of nerve protection as something you build into your day, not something you obsess over. Simple routines done daily are more powerful than occasional effort. Supporting circulation, allowing your body to rest properly at night, staying hydrated, and reducing unnecessary exposure to nerve irritants all work together. No single change does everything, but together they create an environment where nerves can function more smoothly. It's also important to be patient. Nerves heal slowly. Improvements often show up first as better balance, warmer feet, fewer nighttime disturbances, or improved sleep. These are signs that your nervous system is stabilizing. Over time, those small improvements add up to better mobility and comfort. Pay attention to signals, but don't panic over them. Early awareness allows you to adjust before problems become severe. Ignoring symptoms doesn't make them disappear, but responding calmly and consistently often prevents progression. Most importantly, remember that aging doesn't mean decline is inevitable. Many men maintain strong nerve function well into later life because they make thoughtful choices earlier on. You don't need perfection. You need alignment with what your body needs now. If this message helped you understand your nerve health better, take it as a reminder that small changes, made at the right time, can protect your independence and quality of life for years to come.